How are Chelsea able to spend all this money? So Chelsea have spent 207 million this summer so far, but they're still in accordance with FFP. Yep, that's true, because of a loophole. So they've spent 800 million under Bowley, but this is being spread over 8 years, which I'm sure you guys have heard this, but let me get into the weeds of it. 8 years due to the contracts of the players being 8-year deals. But he's now having to change that because the powers that be don't like this 8-year idea. So it's now been made to 5 years is the max for a contract, which is that actually the case? Because surely we're just seeing Caicedo sign a 7-year deal with a 1-year option.
Like now that you got all your players in, now it's going to be 5 years.
Yeah, or maybe that's kind of from now on, right?
Yeah.
So this season's spend will be around 300 million, which means it's spread over 5 years. So the big thing is when you buy a player and you make it an 8-year deal, you can put it into those different sort of buckets. So it means that it costs them 60 million a season of that 300. But Chelsea have also sold 250 million pounds worth of players this season, which all goes into this year's balance sheet. So this is how they've made a profit on Kai Havertz, because they sold him for 60 million after buying him for the same amount, but because he didn't get to the end of his contract, when it comes to the accounts, they've actually still got 25 million left to pay, and they've got a 35 million pound profit. So this is because the money they spent on Havertz is spread over those few years. So meanwhile, they've received a transfer fee up front for him for Arsenal, which they put in their accounts. Chelsea have also sold Mount for 60 million, which goes down as pure profit, due to being an academy graduate. Loftus-Cheek, similar thing. So this means that Chelsea have booked around 200 million in terms of gains over the last 3 transfer windows, nearly there. And due to the fees they're paying being spread over those years, it means that they're actually only spending £135 million a year. So they actually still have 65 mil to spend if they would want to. The thing with all of this, and again, in terms of things aging well, aging badly, today, I think we're looking at the Chelsea situation with quite kind eyes. Because the thing that's makes more sense when you spend that amount of money is to actually go and get another one with Lavia, because what it does is when they are such young assets, the big thing that matters here is that that money's being spent, and at some point they're gonna have to chill. They're also at some point will have to sell on these guys. Now that makes sense initially, and you've got all the ingredients that you want. You've got exciting potential, you've got young players, you've got them on a long contract, so you're not sort of, that smell of desperation that we've been chatting about isn't there, right? But to come back to something that you said here, the problem that I have with all of this is who are you selling to? And how much are you going to get for him, right? Yeah. Because today, as we talk about football and the money that's in it, the money is in the Premier League and it is in the Saudi League. Now, Saudi might bail teams out time and again. And let's remember that's what's kind of occurred here with Chelsea as well. We haven't sort of spoken about those guys. But in a couple of years' time, again, it's going to be those two options. And what will occur is that Chelsea will have that smell of desperation to a point, because they can't sell to Serie A or Liga because they haven't got the money to do it, or to get the 60 million back that you would want. So the only people that can buy them back are either a direct competitor or you hope that the Premier League still awash with so much money that you're selling to West Ham, you're selling to the other guys. So it's still precarious, isn't it?
It's absurd money. It's absolutely crazy what's going on at the moment. Like, within a year, that much money spent. Now, look, I do think they're bringing in good players, by the way. I think their squad is very, very talented. And if Poch can get them to gel quickly, he's going to have 1 game a week. He's going to have them on the training ground all the time. If he can get them to gel quickly, Chelsea might be the surprise package of the season. Listen, because you look at them, look, I watched Man United versus Chelsea at Old Trafford last season. I was at the game. We smoked them. Yeah. But they definitely had us concerned a little bit. Yeah, I mean, I was looking at them. I was like, I'm not going to lie. They've got a few players that will play for my team here. Yeah. And then they've made all these other signings now. So Chelsea, if they get it right, they can do something this season. But so I'll give them that credit. But the money that they're spending, it's just, I just think it's just not right.
I just look at how much...
It's crazy.
I just look at how much money they've spent, and I look at their team, And down the line, I think the potential is there because they're spending 20. All the players are 24
better
and below.
be, right?
Yeah, no, it has to be.
Jesus.
Otherwise, someone's out of business, 100%. But I look at what their team is today, and someone asked me, Chelsea, should they have to challenge now? And I look at their team. They should make top 4. Like, that should be absolutely the bare minimum. But I don't look at a team that's anywhere near challenging for the league. And when you spend 800 million, possibly more, because the window isn't done, they still want to buy Olise, you would think that you have a side that is maybe 1 or 2 players away from challenging for the league. I don't look at this team whatsoever. Someone sent me a dream 11 of what they have.
Yeah,
Because I was kind of questioning, where does Lavia fit into this? And look at this team, and they got Ben Chilwell playing at left wing back. The midfield is Enzo is the furthest forward midfielder. Nico Jackson, Mudryk, and it's a lot of uncertainty. And it's not a team that I look anywhere close to Arsenal, to Manchester City.
But can I ask you a question though? Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right. So last season though, when you looked at Arsenal's team, would you have thought that's a team that can go and win the Premier League? And even when they were looking at winning the league, well, they were about to win the league, you're still looking at their side like, I can't believe this team's about to win the Premier League over a Man City. And through the course of the season, your perception of things change all the time.
One game.
Villa
are finished.
Yeah.
Win
When I saw Saliba going there, I rated Saliba massively from what he was doing in France. But I didn't think within a season I'd be saying, whoa, this guy might be the best centre-half in the Premier League.
In our Prem guide last year, we said that he will start. And we got hammered.
That's what I mean.
Absolutely hammered for it. And you're right, very quickly.
Football changes quickly.
Honestly,
also, I think the thing, sorry, Cam, the thing to remember here is sometimes it's not about this season.
No, definitely. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I think this strategy, it's obviously not about this season. Coming back to the idea of making it sustainable, maybe the next layer of the strategy is if you've got the 2 best youngsters generally in every position, you let them battle it out, age a little bit, and then ripen, and then you sell off the one
Survival
that's
of the
good.
fittest.
You sell off the one that's good. But again, I keep coming back to who's gonna? Will we be in a position here where there's still enough money and people aren't bothered enough that, Arsenal do buy Chelsea players or Arsenal do buy Man City players. So
I think so. And look, we have to give Chelsea the credit of they are, in my opinion, the best sellers in the world.
By far.
Chelsea just know how to sell players. Like David Luiz, where can I find you? Oh yeah, you go off 40 million. Mata, where can I find you? You go off to United. They
and
always
the youth projects as well,
and the youth. So, but
prospects,
the thing about it is that what we need to focus on is that they are signing talented players. Malo Augusto.
He's top. He starts for half the teams in the league.
He's a class player. So Chelsea don't have an issue where I'm telling you, if they need to sell him, they will find a way to sell him. The only problem for me with this whole Chelsea thing is, as much as you're buying young talents, when a club sign young talent, Real Madrid sign a young talent, Barcelona, Man United, whoever,
they surround them with experience.
You surround them with experience. You know what I mean? You have maybe 3 young players and the rest of them are experienced guys who can get them through. This Chelsea situation, everyone is young. Reece James, he's had one great season. From there, he's struggled to find his feet a little bit, injuries and stuff. He's the captain of the club. You know what I mean? Then next to it is Ben Chilwell, who, yes, Ben Chilwell is middle age for a footballer, but I wouldn't say he's got the most vast experience. He's not some 40 cap, 50 cap England international. He doesn't start for his country and stuff. So you look at it, apart from Thiago Silva, and maybe you could say Raheem Sterling, but Raheem Sterling doesn't really give me the vibe of he seems like a guy that you can come to and talk to, but he's not going to drag you around and stuff. So the team is very young. I've never seen such a young side have to be able to, if you guys don't get it right together, then it's
and they're gonna hit walls throughout this season. And like you kind of alluded to, that's where you need your more experienced heads to kind of rise from those situations. And like we were talking about previously, drag the team a little bit through the tough patches. If Chelsea hit a wall, who's that guy?
And that's the same thing that happened with Arsenal. I mean, Arteta designed this team to be the youngest in the Premier League.
And that's for me where the issue of systems and where it comes down so much is system-oriented. When the system fails, that's where you need players, like you always say, to rise.
Rise up,
Arsenal didn't have enough of those players. I look at this Chelsea team, do they?
It's all about, they look to their manager. There was a great conversation with, I think it was Brendan Rodgers said it, and he basically said in this era now, compared to when he used to play or when he used to or coach, I don't even know if he used to play, to be fair, when he used to coach at Chelsea and he was around, he said players, as I mentioned earlier, players solve issues, right? Yeah. Now, he said, literally, I'm on the pitch, we could be going through a bit of turbulence through the game. The players are looking at him. looking at him on the bench.
Wow.
Yeah.
Looking at him, like, and he's having to be like, no, do this, do that. Like, he's having to coach them through. So we look at like Arsenal's collapse. I'm sure there were situations where that could have happened. Remember when David De Gea made that mistake against West Ham? Rashford just looks at Ten Hag like, help me, please.
What's next?
Yeah, what are we gonna do next? And so like problem solving on the pitch is gone. So Chelsea are gonna face turbulence, and who's gonna solve the problem? That's the thing.
Mudryk.
But say they have, again, you're planting these seeds. You know, this year they finish 6th. Next year they finish 3rd. The 2 seasons after that, 4 seasons with the age of this group, you have a title challenging team. That's actually quite smart business.
But do you know when you hear about this is going to be the thing for the next 10 years? How often does that actually happen?
Nah, it doesn't.
I feel like
do you mean player or system? Or what?
Players like duos, and I think that needs to be entered into the football cliche book because
Enzo and Caicedo is the pivot for the next 10 years.
That's our pivot for the next 10 years. This left back
done now.
Yeah, this left back, he's England's left back for the next 10 years. I'm like, this 10 years thing, like players come and go so quickly.
What was it with United? It was Pogba, Martial, and Rashford. United have their 3 for the next 10 years.
10 years. Do you know what I mean? I mean, it ended up did happening with Luke Shaw, but how much time did we try and replace him? Exactly. But when he came, United's left back the next 10 years, United are set forever. We tried to sign like 4 left backs in that time. So when people say this, like, I feel like the only time I've seen actually something for like the next 10 years is like Mudryk and Kroos. Okay, they assembled them. They ran off for the next 10 years and did their thing.
Like, you got like 4 more years than you probably would have 3 more years than you probably would have expected when you buy them. You don't go, they'll be 36, 37 and we'll be absolutely still winning Champions League. Don't worry about that. That doesn't. You're right.
Exactly. And it's the same thing now with Real Madrid now.
There is that that macro thinking is kind of there, and they are utilising loopholes. Let's see, like it's the money they're getting back. But I did quickly look at the transfers that kind of come in, and Nicholas Jackson, 37
That's
mil.
Smart business right there. Huh?
Yeah, very smart. Decent to be fair. Yeah.
And even the guys, I guess the guys that you're spending 100 on, they are good enough. They will be there for 5 years. So from that point of view, you're kind of okay. And so if you do get your 30 mil for these guys, those youngsters, even if they aren't up to it, you're kind of just about breaking even. So, yeah, maybe has been a bit of method in the madness.